ingesting extra-strength Tylenol capsules that had been laced with cyanide. The incident caused panic and fear throughout the country, and Tylenol manufacturer Johnson & Johnson immediately recalled 31 million bottles of the product. Despite extensive investigations, the perpetrator of the poisonings was never caught. However, the case led to sweeping changes in packaging and tamper-evident seals on products, and is still studied as an example of crisis management and consumer protection. Today, the Tylenol poisonings remain a mystery, and the families of the victims continue to seek justice and closure for their loved ones.
I have the only physical proof of Bigfoot in existence. This is only one of the specimens that I have that my father acquired in 1953. It's very, very heavy, maybe more. It's very heavy.
Alright, here are some movies that have scared the shit out of me, and I will never stop recommending them. But be warned, because some of these movies are very violent, very creepy, and just overall like, what the fuck am I watching type of films. But as always, let's just fucking jump right into it. First up, let's talk about the movie Baskin. This is a 2015 Turkish horror film about 5 policemen who are responding to a distress call coming from an abandoned building. And when they get to the abandoned building, they go inside, and the more that they inspect this building, the more they realize they're entering the literal mouth of hell. The reason this movie freaked me out so much was its overall visuals, but honestly, like, the third act is just so, like, disturbing, and it just makes me feel really gross and weird inside. Like, this movie, I'm not gonna lie, did give me nightmares for a few nights after watching it. If you would like to check this one out, here's the list of where it's currently streaming. Next up, let's talk about The Sadness. This is a Taiwanese horror film about a virus that breaks out, and this virus basically causes people to act out on their most intrusive and like violent thoughts. This movie follows a couple who are trying to reunite amongst the fucking mayhem that's going on. The reason that this movie freaked me out was mainly this dude on the very top. Like, he just freaked me the fuck out. This guy just gave me really creepy and like pervy vibes, and he has this like maniacal laugh that just like really freaked me out. Like, I would not want to be chased by this dude like whatsoever. Trigger warning though, there is an essay scene, and all I'm gonna say is it involves an eye socket. That's all I'm gonna say about that. But also be warned, this movie is extremely bloody and extremely gory. It's honestly one of the most goriest films that I've seen. And if you'd like to check this one out, here's the list of where this one is currently streaming. Next up is the movie The Similars. This is a Mexican horror film about a group of people in the 1960s who get stuck at a bus station during a horrible freak rainstorm. One by one, each person falls victim to a very unusual seizure, and when they come out of the seizure, they all have the same face of one man that's at the bus station. And they all start to notice that even like on the magazines and posters at the bus station, all the people on it have the same face of this man. The reason this movie freaked me out so much was because it's very like Twilight Zone-y. Like, things are happening in this movie that should not be happening, but they are happening. And it's just very like, what the fuck? You could almost categorize this movie as a cosmic horror film, which is like my favorite subgenre of horror. I guess you can kind of say this really does freak me out because it's kind of like the fear of the unknown. Like, we don't know why this shit's going down, but it's going down. If you would like to check this one out, here's where this one is currently streaming. And as always, if you guys have seen any of these movies, please let me know what your thoughts are in the comments.
Do you remember this scary flash horror game from the early days of the internet called The House? A lot of you guys told me about this game in the comments, and I remember it too. And did you also know there's a sequel to this game as well? If you remember playing or watching someone play through The House as a kid, sit tight because we're about to get nostalgic. Full playthrough of both of these games right here. These terrifying games are pretty similar, so most of what I say applies to both. The House is a point-and-click flash horror game where you have to investigate an abandoned house where all the family members allegedly unalived themselves. There's not really any puzzle solving, it's mostly just clicking around until the next jump scare happens. The game uses visual storytelling in each room to show you exactly what happened to the family members. And while it's pretty simplistic by today's standards, it was really scary at the time. I firmly believe that these Flash games from the early days of the internet inspired indie horror developers for years to come. Because if there's one thing I can say about the house even today, it's got...
There's like a crazy red ribbon story. When you're in Japan, once you're dead and you're gonna get sent into the morgue, they give you a red ribbon. In Canada, we have a white ribbon with all of our information on it. There was this doctor, right? I think he worked overnight and his last patient was supposedly at 2 a.m. So he's like, all right, let me take a break. I'm gonna go to the basement. He goes into the basement with another woman. He's just talking. He's like, oh, how's your day? Everything's normal. Yeah. They get to the basement. The doors open. They see an old guy, like an old patient walking, and he's getting closer and closer to the elevator. And the guy, he starts spamming the close the elevator door. And the woman's like, he's hurting. Why didn't you let him in? He's like, only the dead have a red ribbon. Oh, shit. He asked the woman, did you see that red ribbon or was it just me? And this is crazy. You know what the woman says? What? She says, oh, something like this? She rolls up her...
In this video, you learn about a disease that makes people crazy. Hey, what's going on, guys? Patient 1 and 2 brought to the emergency room on the same day. Stage 1, week 1. Alright, dude. Patients begin to smile with some resistance. Stage 2, week 2. Holy crap. First of all, bro on the right lost his hair. Faces begin to contort to a wide grin. Patient's behavior becomes predatory, so this is when they become dangerous. Stage 3, week 4. Okay, wow. Fungus has permanently damaged facial tissue. I was gonna say, it looks like they're just falling apart at this point, leaving a severely contorted face. Vocal cords have stopped functioning due to extreme strain. Stage 4, week 5.
Something in the woods. A man named CJ lives somewhere near the woods in southeast Tennessee, alone with his dog Domino. One night, as they're enjoying a peaceful night on the porch, someone or something in the woods caught Domino's attention.
Domino, what is that? What the hell is that? Hey!
You can see what looks like the shape of a person walking into the dark woods. CJ explains he has no idea what this stranger or thing could be.
We live out in the middle of nowhere. He's not much of a barking dog, so he went to the edge of his fence barrier. He's on a wireless fence and just stared. I looked over and I saw it from behind that swing set out of the woods. Walked over to that truck and went behind it into the woods. I don't know what it was. It was brownish red in person. I haven't seen it since, and hopefully I won't, but I still don't know if it was a person or a thing.
This is what happened to 14-year-old Norma Lisbeth and how she was killed after getting into a fight with her school bully. Norma Lisbeth Ramos was a 14-year-old girl that lived in Teotihuacan, Mexico. She was the youngest of 3. She had an older sister named Alma and an older brother named Omar. Now, we don't really know much about Norma, but her friends and family say that she used to be filled with so much happiness and life. She wanted to grow up, she wanted to become a nurse and help others. However, as Norma started to grow up, that light and happiness once inside of her started to quickly fade. This is because Norma was being bullied at school. Some of her friends have come forward and said that the bullying started all the way in elementary school. People would make fun of her skin color, they would call her morenita, they would make fun of the fact that she had curly hair. The kids were brutal to her, and most of the aggression came from another student named Asara Eileen. It seemed like Asara was obsessed with bullying and tormenting Norma. She would make fun of Norma's skin color, she would make fun of the fact that Norma's family didn't have a lot of money. She would even tell the other students, if you try to be nice to Norma, if you try to talk to her, if you try to be her friend, we're also going to bully you. Sarah would hype up the other students, and the minute that Norma would step foot onto campus, the bullying would immediately begin. She would walk into a classroom and people would actually throw things at her. One of the few friends that Norma had came forward and told reporters that a couple of the classmates had actually threatened to physically assault Norma. One day, Norma went to the school bathroom and a couple of her classmates walked in and they tried to beat her up. Norma tried to put an end to it, and the classmates told her, "If you snitch on us, then we will assault you." It seemed like the whole school was against her, so Norma actually did speak up and she told her professors about what was going on. She told them about the taunting, about the bullying, about the threats, but nothing was done about it. In fact, one of her teachers told her, "Girls will be girls." She basically tried to make it seem that this is what teenage girls do, that they bully each other, that they make fun of each other, and that that's just how things are. However, it wasn't just girls that were bullying Norma, it was the boys in the class as well. Literally everybody would taunt her, and on February 20th, 2023, Norma's main bully, Asada, confronted her and told her that the next day, on February 21st, she wanted to meet her outside of the school to get into a physical fight. And she told Norma that she better show up. Of course, Norma was scared, so she tried to tell the director of the school about the fight, but the director did not listen to her. The director told her, "Can you give me a moment? I'm really busy," and she turned around and ignored Norma. Norma just didn't know what to do. She had already told the professors about the bullying. She had told the director of the school, but no one cared. So she felt like the only option she had was to show up to the fight the next day and defend herself. The next day, on February 21st, 2023, the fight happened. There is footage of this fight and it's very intense. Sada is the one wearing the skirt and she just went absolutely crazy on Norma. At one point, she grabbed a stone and she started hitting Norma on the head with the stone. What's crazy is that there was a group of students just standing there watching this and cheering on the fight. At one point, Norma starts
Scary facts that will make your skin crawl. PT.3. If you're wearing earplugs listening to music and you hear someone calling you or the door knocking, there is no one calling. It's the ghost informing you of their presence. The inventors of the Ouija board claim it got its name when they asked it what it should be called. They also asked it what Ouija meant, and it replied, "Good luck." If you're walking and you feel someone behind you, it's a ghost looking at you. The human body can feel the presence of...
The uploader's wife had been hearing noises around the house late at night, on the inside and outside, and her husband didn't really believe her at first until one night he woke up to some creepy noises inside his house and decided to check it out. Watch closely.
What is that noise?
The door to the attic can be seen banging on its own, but when he goes up to check inside, he finds nobody there. On another night, they are disturbed once again when they hear banging and other noises coming from one of the sheds outside. So he gets his phone out and decides to record. What he captured is enough to give anyone the chills.
Something is banging around and making noise in one of our sheds. I'm not really sure what to expect. I'm gonna go check it out.
What looks like a creepy figure can be seen inside the shed, quickly running out through the back, and then again escaping outside. A few days later comes another night, and his wife hears something around 2 a.m. outside, and upon going to investigate, he captures true terror.
2 a.m. The wife just woke up, said she thought someone was playing in our back shed. I hope not, because it's almost falling apart. It wouldn't be very safe, but I'm gonna come out here and have a look around, see if any of the neighborhood kids are messing around or anything. We'll get quiet here for a second.